Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of Banter Blitz. Haven't done one for a while, I've been busy, I was on the road. I was in Madrid commentating the World Cup in Spanish, which is not my first or second language, but was fun anyway. Then I was in Vienna hosting this Magnus Carlsen blindfold simul, which was very interesting. Didn't quite go as expected, and I believe it's almost impossible what Magnus did, was aiming to do, to play 5 blindfold games with 12 minutes on the clock. And that was a very interesting experience at the very least, but I had a lot of fun and I thought it was a good event. Tomorrow I'm off to Berlin to commentate the, what's called, World Rapid and Blitz Championships in English. So I thought before I leave I should get in a little blitz myself so I can appreciate how hard it is what these guys are doing. So I'm sitting there with my little computer engine and pointing out mistakes. So let's get started. I'll have half an eye on the chat. Let me know if you guys can hear me, see me, all that. I'm not planning to adjust my tie because I need to breathe freely to win all these games. So I will stare at the chat until someone tells me, you look beautiful, we can hear you just fine, there's no echo, and so on and so forth. If you don't, I'm just gonna sit here. There we go. Lafroig said they can't hear me, so I will instantly get to the first challenge. I don't have a system, so don't get your hopes up or down. I will click on names and see what happens. That's me still waiting for the challenge to appear. Here we go. Lohan 92 from Germany. I have a feeling I played him before, but who knows. 1 e4. The French. I'm not really a knight c3 kind of person. They can pin you then. Bishop e7, not my expertise, but I do know a little bit. e5 is one of many critical moves. Knight f3, another one. c5, let's take this guy off. And I'm more or less out of book. Knight c6, queen g4 looks tempting. Slightly worried about knight e5, queen g7, knight g6 then. Probably worried enough not to do it actually. So I'll just get my pieces out, go knight f3, bishop d3, typical stuff. But it does look like Lohan knows a bit more about this particular line than yours truly. Queen c7, am I afraid of him taking on e5? It's always a bit double-edged because black is behind in development. I could go bishop b5, but I think what I'll do is play more humbly or more aggressively, depending on how you want to see it. Bishop e2. If knight takes e5, I have a couple interesting moves. b4 is one of them. Another is just to take on e5 and then castle. Well, if he takes on c5, I will do the standard stuff. Go knight b3, hitting this bishop and then try to somehow get my pieces out. Still not sure if things have gone so well here. If I go bishop f4 immediately, he might go f6. Oh, then I had ef6. So I should have done that. I'll do it now. If knight g6, bishop g3, knight e5, knight e5, then he's very, very exposed and something good should pop up for me. Bishop b5 check probably, followed by queen e2. Something along these lines, so I would be mildly optimistic. You're probably familiar with me by now. I'm never very optimistic, but I can, like on my most excited days, I can get to mildly optimistic. a5, that looks overzealous. Let's try to punish it by directing my knight towards the square he just weakened with a5, the b5 square. Still have a feeling black can't really get away with knight takes, let's say knight d4, knight d4, knight e5, because of something. Bishop b5 check, rook e1, and his king is just very, very open. And if he can't do that, I will put a knight on b5 and hopefully d6 and attempt to crush Mr. Lohan. What's up, Poluga? This is an English show. People have found out I speak some Spanish, so if you can, try to stick to English in the chat, but I'll occasionally keep an eye on it, no matter what language. In general, we're on the English side. The Spanish show just ended with our boy Pepe Cuenca, who, yeah, I can't reach his levels of entertainment. I entered the office and from like 50 meters away I hear some yelling. I thought someone was getting shot in the studio, but then I realized it's just Pepe playing Banter Blitz. It's all good. Queen e7, what's going on here? I guess h4 would be typical thing to do to probe his knight on g6. PP Dare Base wonders who I think is gonna win the World Blitz and Rapid. I don't know, like Magnus is the favorite as in probably any event he plays, but there's some other guys who have some chances. My dark horses are probably Nepomniachtchi, well he's not that much of a dark horse, he finished second last year, but Nepomniachtchi and Le Quang Liem are known, especially in Blitz, to be extremely strong. Else, well, Levon Aronian is very tough, a former champion. Vishianan is a former champion. So that's the names that occur to me immediately. But anything can happen, as we say. Probably it's not anything that can happen. Probably Magnus is going to win the thing. He did sound very, very confident. I spoke to him in Vienna, and yeah, he's thrilled that he can see the board and only has one opponent at a time. It was a bit sad Nakamura is not playing because Nakamura is playing the Millionaire Chess, which, as a matter of fact, starts in like half an hour. So I won't be too mad at you guys if you leave this beautiful program, in case you're watching it live, and switch to check out the Millionaire Chess first round. Then again, it's gonna be more action here. First round, normally the favorites win, which is also my plan. I'm hoping to be a favorite and win all my games, but I've been shaky recently in my banter blitzing activities, so I'm not sure if I got my mojo back. Got my sleep back. I slept a lot tonight, but sleep alone might not be enough. In this position I'm confident I somehow managed to pick up an exchange somewhere, and Lohan Green is in a bit of trouble now. His king is weak. I do have extra material. Does have this 8-passed pawn, but if nothing too crazy happens, my initiative in the center and the king side and all these good places should weigh more. And yeah, Lohan Green resigns a little premature. He could fight on with e takes d5, but I'm not blaming him. So let's try to find a new opponent. What's going on in the chat? There's no pairings for the Rapid and Blitz yet, but I'm sure something is out there. So feel free to check out the official site, and of course you can follow my highly exciting commentary here on Chess24 once the event gets going. I'll keep clicking on names. Mr. Long Wu. Long Wu. Where's Long Wu? Here he is. Goes e4. Let's play the Caro-Kann. Haven't played the Caro-Kann for a while in Banter Blitz, I have a feeling. It's an opening I play every now and again. Not my main, probably not even my second opening. In this position I have a soft spot for the move a6, which is not very good, but I do like it, and I'm sure I've done it before. Bishop g4 is a main move, knight f6 another main line. a6, you're sort of waiting for white to commit to d4, and then you want to go bishop g4. Bishop g3 is way too deep for me, so I'll just go bishop g4 and see what he's up to. a6 is very useful if you go, let's say, bishop g4, a3, knight bishop h5 immediately, then there's some problems with checks on b5, which you avoid by playing a6. Still, it's a bit of a don't try this at home line because it's not very good. Tempo does matter. But yeah, now I'm doing classical stuff. I got almost all my pawns on white squares. Light squares, got the bishop outside of the pawn chain. So here I should be doing alright, but I have a hunch that bishop d3 might not be the most critical move. Now I have a pretty good French with his bishop outside. So I'm happy. Not that happy, but confident. I think I'm going to be alone doing commentaries from Berlin in English on this World Blitz and Rapid thing. I have no clue what I'm going to talk about for hours on end, but I do like talking and chess, so I'm not that concerned. Here I can win a pawn in a couple of ways. I could just go knight d e5, Could go knight d4. So many tempting options. Let's spice it up a little bit. I could also have gone bishop f3. Everything looked good. But this one I do quite like. How's the video quality, by the way? Am I streaming in HD? The other day I wasn't streaming in HD, one show, and I didn't like it. Queen e3. So many options, but I'll go for the most greedy one, as I tend to, just to take and to take. He can't take back because of knight forks all over the place. I'm a little concerned about opening the e-file where all his major pieces are. Well, two out of three, and my king is, but I don't see a way for him to exploit that. So I am doing well. Hopefully. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, but I did think it just does not work at all for multiple reasons. I could just go queen d5, he still can't take here, or I could throw in knight takes f3 and then queen takes d5. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So his king doesn't have a good square. If he goes king h1, queen d5, bishop e4, which I guess is his idea, then I have queen h5 attacking this guy. If he had gone to g2, then I would have had a check on e1, while if he had gone to f1, I would have queen takes e4, followed by knight takes d2 check in this position. So some unpleasant knight jumps all over the place, and now it's an uphill battle for Long Wu. King g2. What shall I do? Just grab stuff as usual, I guess. Yeah. Rook is a rook. If I manage to avoid getting mated in the next couple moves, my extra rook should tell at some point. Or so I would hope. Long Wu might be hoping for me to fall asleep or to lock myself out, as I've done before during one of these sessions, but I feel like I can avoid both of these things. Who knows though? Grandmasterly technique at work. Well, being a rook up makes things a lot easier. Doesn't matter if you're a grandmaster or not, and Mr. Long Wu resigns. Yeah, that went downhill quite quickly in the opening. This bishop d3 just looks like a strange move, especially combined with e5. Here, yeah, my play is just too easy. Sound volume is too low. Always complaints. But as we know, I only listen to premium members, but I've heard there were some problems today and I'm feeling them already. Let's see what I can do about it. Not much. It looks like I'm not able to switch screens. Sometimes this program freezes, which is not too bad because on this screen, really, we do have everything we want, but it's not ideal either. Let's play someone I've never played before. Let's see if I can find someone. I've played a lot of people. There's a... Here we got one, Mr. Oscar Hales. Anyway, is the sound volume too low? I don't think it is. And yeah, thanks for reminding me that you challenged me. I am aware of that. I do have a lot of challenges. Probably won't manage to play everybody, but I will do my best to play people I haven't played so much yet and to be fair and random in my selection process. Oscar Hale seems not to be there. That's why I never played him. He never shows up for these games. Where's he from? From the Czech Republic. Why don't we have more jokes in chess connected to Czech and Czech Republic? Like, no one ever exploits that for humor. I don't have anything good either. It looks like Oscar Hales is not around, so I'm gonna have to find someone else. Sadly. Next one. The king of Lego people. Rated 1401 from the United Kingdom. That on paper makes him a little, weaker opponent, but I'm glad we have premium members from all spectrums of the rating, and everyone should have a chance to play if they're there. King of the Lego people might not be around. Who is the king of Lego people? Played a bit of Lego as a kid. Can't remember any king of them. These Lego movies, do they have a king? I haven't seen any of them, but I've heard they're pretty good actually. Anyway, it looks like we won't find out because the king of Lego people is not with us either. So sad. Sorry, king. Gotta go. Mr. Alakin. Let's see if someone's here. Let's go d4 instead of e4. I have to rewatch the tape. Magnus on this blind symbol thought he said d4 and I made e4 instead. I still think he said e4, but they're so close together that it's very, very hard to tell, which makes these blind symbols so tough. You have to digest all this information, and B, D, and E, they really do sound a bit alike. Knight c6 here. Bit of a sideline. Not quite sure what the best reaction is. Probably d5, but now I'm happy because we transpose into a line that's not very good for black, this bishop e3 stuff, where black went knight c6 and I have not castled yet. So his kingside attack carries a little less force while I can do my usual queenside stuff. Still looks very committed to checkmating me on the kingside. But my king might not be there to be checkmated. I've never studied this line because it's somehow how I thought it was obviously better for white, but it's not that easy to break through on the king side. On the queen side, I'm sorry. After knight f6, normally I'm in time to take here and go knight b5. When, well, he can either try g4, dropping this pawn, or he would have to retreat to e8, which is a little sad, and then I can probably take on a7. So it looks like problems for Alakin from Spain. He does go back to e8. And greedy as I am, I shall grab the pawn. Bishop d7 has to be done. He has to keep that bishop alive. And he gives me more pawns. I do like pawns. I shall take them all. That does pin me, but I can unpin, and I've won the battle on the queen side, which is not a surprise on these lines. But now the question is, can he drum up any counterplay on the... I don't know why I struggle so much with the difference between queen side and king side. But I frequently say it wrong and then have to correct myself. I don't know. It does seem very hard. So he's sort of defending on the queen side. I think I'll keep attacking there. I still don't see any crushing threats on the king side. So I'll just keep putting my pieces somewhere over here. Queen g5, now he can toy with g3, but I would just go away. Still don't see anything devastating. Okay, 8, fair enough. So what do? I ran out of things to grab on the queen side. Now I became really conscious about it. So I could just advance this pawn. What's that? Could just advance the pawn, or I could make some sort of prophylactic move like rook c3. Should also play a bit more quickly, I guess. There he goes. Now I better take on h2, because if I get in h3, there's not going to be a lot of drama on the king side. Oh, he could try bishop h3, which would be a funny move. And I would probably have to go bishop f1. Now this side is closed, so I can focus on the queen side again, which is probably good news for me. I have to make a bit of an effort to get my pieces out. This bishop on g1 is blocking some of the other guys. 97. Okay. Let's move Mr. Bishop to a more active destination. Now d6 is on prise as well. So yeah, things are looking up. I'm a little tired after, I'm not quite sure why. As I said, I slept well, been on the road a lot, and I have to recharge my batteries for this rapid thingy. Since I'll be commentating alone, that's normally a tough thing to do. I have to be sharp. So I'll save all these great jokes I have in store for the rapid event. Alakin is just trying to flag me here. He is pretty lost, even though knight d6 was not brilliant. Doesn't really matter. And yeah, flagging me is tough, as you guys know. Even while whining that I'm tired, I do still have my flagging skills. Castles, move 36. And Alakin does resign. Yeah, the main problem is this line is not very good, of course. The game continues, but it's just easier to be white here without a clear target for black on the king side. White tends to create a lot of pressure on the opposite side of the board. Who do we play next? Mr. Vegan. Are you really a vegan, or is that just a username? I don't know. For me, it would be too much work to be a vegan. Which probably, yeah, is not a reason I should side. And he is certainly a carnivore over the chessboard going for the king's gambit. Yeah, this is one of the big main lines of the King's Gambit. I've stated many times I don't really believe in the King's Gambit. I don't think it's a good opening. But of course, that's not going to stop me from whining and being scared when I enter this line. All theory, d4, d6, knight d3. Black can just take on e4, be a pawn up. White has a little positional compensation because of some squares on the king side. But this knight c6 is, as far as I can recall, a quite interesting alternative. Trying to provoke c3 and then to take here when, yeah, I don't really believe in the white position. And it looked to me like white players have shifted towards bishop c4 instead of d4 in this line. People are saying it's not vegan, it's vegan. That's also possible. Who knows? Yeah, I think this has been seen before. I remember there was a game by Ivanchuk. I think he introduced this idea, knight c6. I think it was Ivanchuk, not 100% sure. Yeah, I did look at it in the old days and I just thought, yeah, this looks good, pawn up. After knight c6, white can go d5, but that's pretty challenging. People correcting my English, or are you guys being funny? Vegan is a correct pronunciation, that much I do know. But maybe that's not what the username indicates. We shall never find out. People are so used to correcting me now that I spoke in Spanish for a couple days, which I'm really not very good at. But in my English I do have a little more. I shouldn't jinx myself by claiming I have more faith in my English, because from now on, every time I miss a TH, it's gonna be coming back to haunt me. One thing I've noticed, I'm not sure why that is, I speak much slower in English. I really don't know why. It's not like I need to look for the words so much, but somehow when I do a video in English and one in German, the English version is always like 3-4 minutes longer. So I'm not really sure why that is. Knight f2, let's advance this e-pawn as long as it's alive. Thanks, Trotters, that you missed me for the World Cup commentary, but yeah. The good news for both of my fans is that I will be back for the World Rapid and Blitz, coming to you live from Berlin, doing the official English commentary, so I'm very excited about that. Not sure how excited I am about my position anymore, because I missed bishop d3. I wanted to go bishop f5, but then he has rook f1, so I have to change plans. Queen c2 should ease my play a little bit, or so I thought, but even here it's not that easy. Let's start with this. I think he has to go bishop d3. Then I'm not sure what to do. Still this annoying rook f1 move in the air. So I guess I'm gonna take and give a check. But I don't like giving up my beautiful bishop for his puny knight, even though it was a pretty good knight. I have to make some sense of my knight as well. Carusero is saying I speak better Spanish than English. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm being asked, isn't it Berlin? Yeah, in German we say Berlin. In English I think they say Berlin, right? It's very tricky with all these languages. My head is all messed up. But yeah, the German pronunciation is Berlin. Queen e2, I can pick up the bishop. That looks like a plan, even though rook d6 is also tempting, but as they say, if you can't give mate or win a bishop, take the bishop, because it might not be mate. I think they say that about queens, but I do like bishops just as much. And Vegan resigns. Good game by Vegan. I'm not quite sure where it went wrong. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of White's opening. I believe bishop c4 is the move the King's Gambit addicts are spending their time on nowadays. And yeah, I think I got a good position there. Let's play someone else. Let's play Squallow. Squallow? That one I don't know how to pronounce. Where's Squallow from? He's anonymous, we'll never find out. Maybe he doesn't have a nationality. Maybe he's like Tom Hanks in that movie and he lives on the airport because they don't let him enter any country because he doesn't have any. I'm not sure though. Maybe he just didn't want to share his nationality with us, but that sounds unlikely. My terminal theory does strike me as a likely one, and it might be that he ran out of the daily hour of free Wi-Fi you get at the airport and he's gone. He's trying to reconnect, but then your phone tells you, I'm sorry, you already used your complimentary 60 minutes. Try again in 12 hours. We don't have that kind of time, Squallow. We just don't. I'll count till 5. And then if he's not around, I'm going to have to find someone new. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Abort. Sorry, Squallow. And here's DJ Grodek. Joe Grodek. 2426. Where's he from? From Poland. Never played him either. So since he's so strong, I will stick to my normal, highly exciting repertoire. Looks like we're gonna get a Slav. And I'm not sure what to do against the Slav. I will decide after he made his move. Knight f6. Let's keep it as boring as possible. Good old exchange Slav. Which, yeah, I've been ridiculed for plenty for playing this opening. I still think it's as good as any other line, but it got a bit more exposure recently, and black tends to know what to do here. At some point I wanted to do a video series about it for white, but I just couldn't find any exciting ideas, so I gave up on that plan. Queen b3, bishop b4, bishop b5, this is the main line. Castles, bishop c6, bishop c3, and so on and so forth. Is it? I can't even remember. Is it bishop c6, bishop c3? Yeah, the main line is castles. But I believe I wanted to go here. That's some old game. Well, not that old, but in the first game of the World Championship match in, when was it? 2008, Vishy Anand used. No, Vladimir Kramnik used his line with white against Vishy Anand. Vishy Anand did know what to do, and he made a reasonably easy draw. Still, it does have some venom. Black has to sacrifice a pawn in the main line after castles, bishop c6. So it's not that simple, but of course I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's winning. Being told rook c1 instead of queen b3 is an interesting alternative. I don't think that's true in that position. Queen b3 instead of e3 is an interesting alternative. Yeah, this is still the line they normally play. Rook c8, knight e5, knight g4 is the main line, but there's other moves here. bc6 is legal, of course. Knight e4 is legal. Generally, if white manages to not even win the pawn but get a position where black has a backward c-pawn which can be targeted, he tends to be reasonably comfortable. And that's what I'm gonna do. Here I believe black's best bet is to go g5 and try to create action very quickly. Because now, hope I'm not blundering things, but normally there's this trick of c5, knight to d7. And if I'm allowed to get in knight d7, knight c5 or f3 first, then black should suffer. Not too much, but yeah, he should suffer. Mainly because my bishop on this diagonal often is more useful than his bishop on this diagonal, as strange as it sounds. So yeah, this is the position you typically get, and it hurts black that he can never go rook b8 because my bishop controls that square. So he has to sit and wait passively, as DJ Grodek does. I also don't have any big plans for the near future. At some point I should try to think of something, but for starters I will just aimlessly move around. One plan is always to target this, what's called the a7 pawn. Tries to get some counterplay, but I'm not that concerned about the amount of counterplay that black could get here. Still unsure how to play. Let's try this. Could put his rook on e2, yeah. Was hoping it wouldn't do all that much there. But now it does bother me a little bit. It's also a rather passive move. Yeah, I haven't created the model game advertising for the exchange Slav I was hoping to get in. Still a bit better, I believe. Because yeah, even this endgame, well, he wisely doesn't go for the endgame, would be a little unpleasant. He goes queen c8. And some ideas with taking on h3, which I don't want, so I will avoid those. I don't like queen c3 though, because now he could go queen c7, occupying this diagonal. Queen e8 I'm alright with. I don't think there's anything happening here. But queen c7 would have bothered me. Still, I haven't made tremendous progress, while DJ Grodek has, so not too happy, frankly. Need this rook back in the game. It's doing a decent job tying down the black rook, but it's not doing anything active. Now he goes for the attack. This looks like too much, doesn't it? Let's see. Going for the brilliancy prize. I tend to be greedy, take stuff, then think. I'm following that policy here. Oh, and we're really low on time, so it's time to speed up a little bit. Ugh, my mouse doesn't react the way I would like it to. Might not be a good day for my flagging skills. But yeah, he started with too little time. Interesting game. I didn't really get that much done. I still believe this position somewhere around here should favor... Nah, maybe here, not anymore already. This position outside of the opening should favor white because, yeah, it is tough to defend with black, but I somehow did not come up with any cruel plan. Maybe some b4, b5 was better. And he got some counterplay. Anyway, next. Yeah, my policy of the day is to play people I've never played before, so I'm checking that, and that will give you an advantage in my choosing process. The rating should matter. I love all you premium members equally. And this Icebreaker is lower rated. He goes for d4, c4, bishop, b4 check, which is, yeah, a bit of a sideline, but it's played frequently, trying to transpose to some Bogo Indian positions. I believe I've had this line before. Now the main move is bishop takes d2, because after bishop e7, e4, normally you get this position with a knight on f3 and black already castled, where d5 is a decent move. I don't think you can get that in here. So arguably this is a better version. And I'm feeling frisky. I'll go for f4. Knight f3 would transpose into more or less main lines of the Bogo Indian. But I might as well try to use the fact that I have not developed that knight yet and try to grab a lot of space in the center. e5 is the best reaction. F takes e, and now d, d5 is a structure where if white manages to develop, he tends to be better, but I have to be extremely cautious about black going knight g4, bishop c5, and creating some counterplay there, which, yeah, knight d7 strikes me as a little too slow. It's a natural move, of course, but I think black had to go for an immediate knight g4, try to make something happen here. When I guess white is doing alright, but would lead to more dynamic play for black. Well, now, yeah, white manages to develop, as I said, the structure tends to favor him. More space and then easy play on both flanks, actually. So this position I should be quite happy with, and I will kick back his knight to grab even more space. And now we can see that, yeah, black's structure is not so nice. It's very hard to undermine this d5 pawn, because, yeah, if he goes c6, I can just ignore it and recapture here with either pawn, really. Get a nice passed pawn on the d-file, so this is quite hard to play. I'm not sure cd5 would be the autopilot response. I'm a bit motivated to go ed5, but I'm not sure if that's any good. No, I think cd5 is better. If ed5, I have to concern myself with b5 breaking up my pawn chain. No need for that. Now he should go a5, maybe bishop b2 actually. Wasn't the most accurate move. Yeah, after a5 I'm not quite sure what to do. Could take, which I don't like. Could go bishop c3, which I also don't like. I think I'll go h3 and see what happens. Rook to c8. Let's see what happens. Please don't insult Magnus. I'm a big Magnus fan, and that was a very tough competition that he had to do. And yeah, I think we all have to improve the logistics, but I was not the slightest bit offended. Queen to e3, knight to c4, right? He could take that and then take on e4, which would be interesting. But it doesn't look like enough. Queen h6. I guess I can grab this guy. Have to be careful not to get checkmated by some bishop d6, which maybe I should have thought about before grabbing. But if there's a pawn, I just can't control myself. Now at least there's no bishop d6. No, and seriously, St. Francis. Magnus is a good guy. Don't call him names. I have to recheck the tape. I don't think I've made a mistake, but it's just very, very stressful to do that thing. So I fully understood him, and I felt a bit bad about, the logistics of that event. But really, calling him names is absolutely uncalled for. I'm playing a bit slowly. Still trying to break the ice here. This is a pawn sacrifice. I've spotted bishop f3 and bishop takes g2 check. But that would ruin the position for black, even though it would win him a pawn. Actually would lose a piece. He can't do that, and if he exchanges queens, then he's in trouble as well. Yeah, like I said, I thought this was winning a pawn too, but at the end of the line, bishop takes f6, gets the job done. And another win for me. Let's play Mr. Knut and Knuffi. Nice name from Germany. Knut and Knuffi. Is that a cartoon series or something? Doesn't ring a bell. Knut. It's like some of my dad's friends are called Knut. I'm not sure you see that many Knuts nowadays, but I think it's a common name in the previous generation. Well, they're still alive, like in the generation of guys who are a little older. Bishop e2, what kind of move is this? Can just go d5, then if he wants to, he can take and go bishop b5, and we get the standard line with colors reversed, but he does castle. When the most natural seems to be to take and go bishop d6. Oh, dc3, that's not a surprise. This pawn structure, I should probably exchange queens. He's blitzing out these moves as if they were any good. I think you're bluffing, Knut and Knuffi. This pawn structure favors black because, white has these 4 pawns against 3, but he does have double pawns, so his majority can't create a passed pawn, while my 4 against 3 can. Of course, we're still very far away from that, and there's a lot of pieces on the board, so in general I'd be okay with exchanging pieces, but for starters I'll try to get my pawns rolling a little bit. I believe, even though this looks a bit anti-positional, giving up this square, this is the way to go. Because now I can develop with tempo, and he has to play the very passive move, bishop to f5. Bishop to d2. Rook c1, what do I do? Rook d8 is the first move that comes to mind, but actually I like h6, just so if he goes knight h4, I have bishop h7, and also, to stop knight g5 in any of these lines. Bishop d3, good move. Knut and Knuffi are fighting for the central squares. Actually, maybe it wasn't a good move. Maybe I could just have gone e4. But knight e7 to cover both these squares did look sensible. Still, I should have gone e4. That was just stronger. Now, I guess I should still go e4. It's a little double-edged because this e4 pawn could turn out to be weak. But it's part of the plan to mobilize my majority. And I don't see how he can pick up that pawn. Could do some deep maneuvering with knight g8 just to go knight f6 then. Not sure that's really needed. Knight f5 or something looks pretty natural as well. Feeling slow again. Should speed up a bit. But I like knight g8. h5 just so he can't go knight to g4. Now I really have to hit the... What do they call this in Fast and the Furious when Vin Diesel presses a little secret button in the middle of the race? It becomes like 5 times faster. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, I need to hit that button. My position is very good, probably winning by now. Because I did manage to execute my plan, mobilize my majority, while he hasn't made a lot of progress on the other side. And I think I can start playing very directly to cash in on that. want a pawn. Feeling I can take another pawn next move. Oh no, I can't, but then I'll take other stuff. He should have given me that pawn. Now it's trouble. King G1 should not help. I could have made it directly with rook h2, rook g2, rook h1. But I like this plan of knight h5, knight g3, which looks very, very hard to stop. I've set a terrible example for everyone with all my flagging attempts. So everyone's trying to flag me now. But yeah, that didn't work. Good game. Cut and Kuuy, I think... Well, I've never looked at this line, but I have a feeling d takes c3 just can't be right. You just get an endgame that is strategically worse right out of the opening. And that can't be the plan. Let's play Mr. Chikovsky. 2506. Where's he from? From Spain. Goes e4. I shall play e5, which is a good move. You like grab space in the center, you don't allow wider space advantage. In my book, e5 and c5 should be the best moves because they control like important central squares. Then c6 and e6, and then you can add some others. This line, I used to know, it's one of these gambits that's not very good, but people do like to play them for surprise value, and so they can feel real clever, but it's not that great. Unfortunately, I can't remember a theory as usual. c6, I'm sure as a move. Knight g6 and f5 is also possible. I think I once had a game like that. Can I go c6? Don't really see what would be wrong with it. I once had a tournament game in this line. I can't remember what I did. I think I went for some knight g6 and then f5 and c5. But first of all, I can't remember if that's really what I did. And secondly, I can't remember if I thought that was any good. So I have a blurred memory on all this stuff. But black does seem to have a perfectly healthy position out of the opening, so can't be too bad. a6, he's going to go a4. I shall activate my bishop, and the one problem piece I have is this knight on g6, which I'm not quite sure how to make full use of it. So for now I'll try to get the other pieces out and then worry about this knight. Sometimes you can go knight h8, knight f7, but I'm not sure how much that improves its position. Maybe I should just leave it where it is and try to do something active somewhere else. Rook c8, c4, queen a5, queen b4. Rook e8 is always a move. I believe my pieces are slightly better than his pieces here. So there's not a lot of ground for concern. After I praised my own English at the start of the show, I am now very self-conscious about anything I could possibly say. Am I winning here? Feels like I'm winning. I don't know how, but it does look like a very good position. Start with this one, see what happens. Maybe I could have gone bishop takes, but okay, he defends with c4. Still, again, my position is excellent. I have a space advantage and better pieces, but still gotta make use of them. h5. Can I go knight f4? No, here goes rook e8. I can take here. He has to take with the bishop, because else I do have knight takes f4. Here I'm also a little curious if I can still do it. Knight f4. Nah, I guess I can't. Sad. I'm gonna go here, hoping he blunders his queen with bishop g6, c4 check, which actually wouldn't blunder the queen, but wouldn't be very good. But he does no such thing, so it's time to get this knight back to life. And yeah, Chikovsky has played pretty well. Now the position is a bit unclear. He could try to sacrifice a pawn with c3 or go c4, but c4 looks more risky. Can I pin him? Can't pin him, but might not be winning by pinning. Because he unpins. Such a complicated game, this chess. And I'm still having some problems with my silly knight on e7. And with my clock management today. Is queen g5 a problem? Well, I can just go bishop f6, but I don't want to. The bishop is so nice over there. h3. How do I make progress here? Let's just go here and see what happens. Trying to overload his defenses, but I have a feeling I'm not really doing a good job at it. And as I've been playing slowly, I should really speed up a little bit. Still playing slowly. Panic. Can't think of a move. Now he blundered, but I'm not sure I'll be in time to win this. I shall, however, try. Ugh, this mouse is really terrible. I overtook the studio from Mr. Cuenca. And I think he has different mouse settings than me. Checkmate. That was an interesting game. Yeah, I think I got a very good position. Then I slightly messed up, but then he was kind enough to blunder a piece. Copernicus 15 asks if there will be an opening clinic in the near future. Yeah, I'll do one once I'm done commentating non-stop. I have this Rapid and Blitz World Championship, and then I'll be back like, I don't know, Thursday next week, Friday next week. So probably the week after that. There's gonna be a little less live commentating going on, and I'll find time for all these very popular formats like an opening clinic, an endgame clinic. I also have to work on part 2 of my new repertoire series against 1d4. So I'll find ways to keep busy. But the last couple weeks, or really month, it feels like, I've been commentating live non-stop, so I just haven't had time to spread opening knowledge out there. Tell people to play main lines, not sidelines. Mik Mjil from Slovakia. 2196, another strong player. Plays the Queen's Indian. And somehow Queen's Indian, I never know what to do, especially against this line. White has like 5 playable moves here, and I can never decide. Queen a4, Queen c2, Queen b3, Knight bd2, b3. I've played all of them, even in tournament games. But it's not like I have one go-to line, which is probably healthy, so I'm less predictable, and if I don't know what I'm going to play, my opponents normally don't either. Queen a4, I think is a good move, but I lost one of the priciest game in my chess career here against Peter Leko in Dortmund in the second to last round, where I was leading the tournament, which was a big success for me back then. But then I lost to Leko with white here, and he won the tournament. Still a big success for me, the outcome, but I shouldn't have lost that game. I don't understand the question. What will be your chess 24 anti-d4 not Catalan? I'm not following. What's going on here? Can I go d5? I'm tempted to go d5, but probably I shouldn't. Knight c3. I think he wants to go knight to e4. So I'll play a strange looking move, bishop g5, intending to take here if he goes h6 and then go knight c3. Because I feel like this knight is more useful than the bishop. Don't think I was ever going to say that in this position when it comes to fighting for the center. d6, even now bishop f6 is sort of interesting. But now I have a feeling I should gamble with knight c3. That he's going to go knight bd7 and not knight e4. If he goes knight e4, I'll be very sad. But if he goes knight d7, I'll be less sad because now at least all the pieces remain on the board and I did manage to save a bit of a space advantage. And yeah, of course nothing special. He has a perfectly healthy position if he goes c5. But I have a feeling I should be a little better here. Could just go e4, or is e5 an issue? I'll start with this, just to, in case he goes e5, that bad things could happen on the d file. And yeah, if he doesn't, now I do manage to control the center pretty well. And I'm not sure what he's gonna do. What are you gonna do, Mik Mjil? c5 is the most normal move, but then d5, yeah, knight h5. I'm just gonna go away, sort of delays the problem. Now he goes e5, which is fair enough, but this is a Dream King's Indian. The bishop is wrong on b7 and I do have a bit of a head start. So even though, yeah, as you guys know, I'm not that comfortable in King's Indian structures, this one is too good to pass up. a5, fair enough. Go a3 just so he can't comfortably establish a knight on c5. I'm not that sure I want to play b4, actually open this a file for the rook. Now after bishop a6 I do want to play b4. And yeah, for black the promises pieces are misplaced. You want to get an f5 in these positions, but for getting an f5 your rook is better on f8 than on e8. And yeah, this bishop is best on c8, but it's not so easy to arrive in time. So this type of structures that arise out of slow play in the Queen's Indian normally do favor white. And Mik Mjil is taking his time. People are asking what the second part of my video series is gonna cover. I like to keep my options open, but I believe the second part is gonna be the Vienna. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3, d takes c4. It's a line which I like. I've done a lot of work on it and I think it's perfectly playable. Plus it's very direct, which I also like. So yeah, I believe that's gonna be the second part, and then probably gonna have to do 2 more parts. It's gonna be a long series. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wait a bit till I find some free time. Well, not free time, but some not live commentary time. Till I can get back to work on it. Rook a8, queen a8. I am excited about the World Blitz and World Rapid though. It's more fun, or for me at least, to commentate on Rapid games and Blitz games than on classical games, because there's always something happening. And especially since I'm going to be doing it alone, which is less fun than having a co-host, but in Rapid and Blitz there's enough action that I can entertain myself. While in a classical game it can be pretty tough. Mik Mjil is finally sliding all his pieces into the correct positions, but I've made some progress on the queen side as well. Bishop f3, I'm not sure, I could also have played bishop h3. It's directed against him going f5, which I would rather not allow. Knight f6. No, at least that's stopped. And yeah, let's go here, see what happens. What you should probably do is now switch plans. Oh yeah, that's a possible move as well. I was gonna say play h5. Knight h7 is interesting. I don't have any tricks. Knight d6 doesn't work yet. No, looks like no tricks, which is very sad. Let's go back then. I thought this was not possible because of rook b7 and queen takes d7, but now I spotted he has f4 there, so I might have been wrong about that. Or was I? Takes f4. Interesting position. Yeah, it's not clear. He would win my bishop, and I guess I would have some compensation, but nothing to get too excited about. So I'm gonna have to change plans, but that means, yeah, I did allow f5, which I really shouldn't have. Now, and all of a sudden my task is quite tricky actually, because he's threatening f4, and if I move my knight somewhere to make room for this bishop, he goes f4 and f takes g3. So this has not gone according to plan at all. What have I done? Should still be something good, but I can't spot it. As I say, every Russian schoolboy knows in these positions you have to go gf5. Yeah, I couldn't find anything better than going for this very double-edged position with the exchange sacrifice. If he goes f4, I'll put a knight on e4 and pretend like I have great compensation. Well, if he goes e4, I should take that and pretend I have great compensation there. I have 2 pawns for the exchange and active pieces, some attack on the light square, so I do think I'm actually in good shape, and I do think the endgame should actually be good for me as well. Not sure, I should have gone into the endgame with hindsight. Probably should have kept queens on the board. Yeah, that was probably the wrong decision. Still a feeling I'm better here. But it was probably easier to play with queens on the board. That's a check. That's not a check. Can I take? Probably not. If I take, he takes his knight somehow, and I might regret my greed. Ah yeah, here with play pretty much on one wing, normally what pieces you have is less important than the number of pieces, and not sure that made sense, but I do have, yeah, a couple extra pawns and all my pieces are functioning well. Now I'm winning, but okay, he's in big time trouble. I should avoid going d8, because then he can get opposite colored bishops, but after bishop g4, next move is d8, and that endgame is winning. Being asked when Millionaire begins, I believe it began like 3 minutes ago. So now is the time to switch. I'll play a couple more games, but by all means follow the Millionaire Chess in Las Vegas, which features all the superstars from America. Fabiano Caruana is playing, Hikaru Nakamura is playing, Wesley So is playing. Bit sad not to have these guys in the World Rapid and Blitz, but I believe the dates for the Millionaire Chess were published before, and they had to decide. Another strong opponent here for me, Mik Mjil from Portugal. Let's see what he's up to. Oh, I'm being told it starts 2 hours later than announced. Well, it's a thing that happens often in first rounds of opens, like people are running late and are traveling, stuck on the road, or something's wrong with the registration and it starts a little later, but it does start tonight. Seems like there's still a big discussion about the Magnus Carlsen event. Yeah, as I said, I wasn't offended at all. I was mainly worried also during the event how to do it best, because if you tell him the moves the second they're made, I think he's just going to get nuts with people talking over each other and he's trying to think about something and then you yell it out. But if you wait a little bit, then his time is going to get really low. So the timing was very, very difficult. And yeah, for the future, I believe we've all learned our lesson that one needs, I believe, like 5 people that make the moves, that only listen to him, and then one guy sitting behind a computer screen who tells him what moves have been made. So he doesn't have yet like 2 conflicting sources of information. But also, I believe it's almost impossible to do with 12 minutes. If the opponents play quickly, which they did, then your clock will just be running on all the boards all the time, and it doesn't even matter if they're good players or not, but you're just not going to get to move 30 because, yeah, it takes too much time. Also, telling the move and then executing the move, you're always going to lose a couple seconds. So I think, yeah, with 12 minutes, this format is almost impossible to do. With 20 minutes and, yeah, the system I just mentioned, I think it's easier. As I said, really, no point in talking about who was rude or who wasn't. That wasn't the point of the exhibition at all. It was supposed to be, yeah, a fun event, and it was. I wasn't the slightest bit offended. I had dinner with Magnus and the guys afterwards, which was a big pleasure for me. We talked a lot of basketball, so really, my feelings weren't hurt for a change. And you know how fragile my feelings are. Let's play Lafroig. Well, that's a challenge for anybody's English. Yeah, let's give you guys a sneak preview of part 2 of my series. I'm going to recommend this move. The critical move is e4. Almost everyone goes e3 when you're fine already. But here is where the real fun begins. Bishop takes c4. It's a very interesting pawn sacrifice, which I spent a lot of time analyzing. Bishop g5 is the main move here. And black has a choice between c5, h6, b5. c5 is the main line, and as you know, I do like my main lines. So that's what I would do. And yeah, this is complicated stuff, but I believe black is fine, and I believe it's fun to play and to look at. So that shall be part 2. 2 main moves here, bishop takes c4 and e5, with d takes c5 being the occasional surprise weapon. C takes d, knight takes d4. a3 is possible, but not great. Knight takes d4 is what everyone does. When, once again, black has a choice between queen a5 and bishop takes c3 check. I do like to take here and go queen a5, the most complicated line, attacking this bishop and this pawn. White has 3 moves, knight b5, bishop b5, and bishop f6. All of those I will have to cover. Let's see which one Lafroig comes up with. I'm sorry, I just don't know how to pronounce that name. Lapfrog? Maybe it's Lapfrog. Laproig? L-A-P-H-R-O-A-I-G? I'm very confused by that username. Ah, is it a whiskey? No, I'm not a big alcohol connoisseur, I have to admit. Lafroig is a whiskey? Strange name for a whiskey, too. Anyway, I think he's getting out his theory book, but the definite work on this line has not been done yet. He's going to have to wait for my video series. Bishop b5 check is the most critical move in this position, when black has a choice between bishop d7 and knight bd7. It's very complicated. Oh, it's a well-known whiskey. I had no idea. I'm really not an expert. Like, it's always embarrassing. Bishop d2 is not a good move. Now I can just grab the pawn. It's always embarrassing if I drink once in a blue moon and I order whatever, gin tonic, and then they ask me which gin would you like, and there I'm sitting like trying to think of a gin brand because I really don't have a clue, and you don't want to look like you're not an expert drinker. So I always sit there, you choose. No, tell me which one you want. And I don't know. What are gin brands? Gordon's? I think I normally say Gordon's, I believe that's a gin, but I'm really bad when it comes to alcohol. Anyway, I learned something. Whiskey brand. About the opening I didn't learn anything because bishop d2 is bad, and now I'm just, well, I'm almost winning. I'm a healthy pawn up for not very much. Not sure if rook d8 is the most precise, but I got my greedy eyes set on ideas with knight takes d2 and e5, which is not really a threat yet, but Lafroig does make my life a little bit easier. Sorry about that. How's it pronounced? Lafroig or Lafroig? Sometimes this... Yeah, I'm familiar with Bombay Sapphire. Sometimes I say that one Sapphire. But I don't have a clue. I'm also not a big beer guy. I know I'm supposed to be, being German and all, but don't like it much. Let's find another guy I've never played. I've played most people. Oh, I haven't played this guy. J Fulltime. At least I can pronounce that name. Not sure what it means though. Maybe he's a full-time J. Probably because his first name is John, so he's called J. John Fulltime. J is also the second name of Homer J. Simpson. The J stands for J. That stuff I do know. Like whiskey brands, I don't have a clue, but pop culture, I tend to know my way around. But it looks like J Fulltime is not around, and I'm gonna have to find someone else. And I shall abort this one. And of course I should mention that if you want to play me, become a premium member. Also, if you want to ask me stuff, I'm a lot more responsive to premium members. So to get my very, very wise opinion on stuff. Support the project and learn a lot about chess by becoming a premium member. You have access to thousands of videos. You can participate in all these shows. The site works much better. You have access to the database if you scroll down a bit. The engine is faster. It's worth it. Price of a pizza a month. I can honestly recommend it, even though I might be a little biased. Still, if you want to improve at chess, it's a very well invested €9 per month. Ad Vitan. No one's here. They challenge me, but then they don't show up. Ah, there he is. Ad Vitan. All right, let's play the move c5. G3 is a bit of a sideline, but not a rare one. Magnus Carlsen played this move in his World Championship match against Vishy Anand. Here, Black has two moves. D5, the main move. And I think I'm going to go for the move which our boy Robin van Kempen recommended in his video series on the Taimanov, which I thought was very good as well. The move knight to f6. Here I'm not sure what's going on. Now we get some King's Indian attack position where he's committed to e5 very early. Which might not be a big deal. But I feel like the timing should be a little off. I'll try to punish it by going f6. Not sure if this is the way to go. Probably wasn't actually. No, I don't like what I just did. Now knight to c3. And I have some long-term weaknesses over here. Yeah, that wasn't very smart. Ugh. Okay. Moving on, but yeah, this wasn't the type of position I wanted. I'm not sure how bad it is, but now my center is kind of fragile. E5 square is weak, the e6 pawn is weak. So really not what I was aiming for. Still, it can't be too bad. And of course, life goes on. But this was not the correct reaction. Ad Vitan knows his way around in the opening, and I have to admit, move 5 d3. I'm not a big expert if I'm supposed to go d5 or e5 or d6. All look possible. Knight h2, what's that about? He wants to go to g4, I guess. Does that bother me? Bothers me a little bit. The move I want to play is knight d4, but then knight g4, and if queen g6, let's say he has h5, while if queen f7, he has bishop h6 or queen f5. So I can't really do that. I guess I will have to go here instead to try to stop the knight coming to g4. No, don't trust my position all that much anymore. Well, I never did. But if I manage to develop, let's say bishop d7, rook a8, then it shouldn't be too bad. And I'm not sure about his move knight h2, frankly. Bishop d2, that's another slightly strange move. He wants to go f4 to kick my knight out of e5. But is that such a big deal? Bit tempted to sacrifice stuff. Is that any good? I'm thinking about queen g6, f4, queen g3, f takes e. And if I can't do anything fancy there, I'm afraid not. Still want to do it. What the heck? I haven't lost a game today yet, I think, so might as well randomly sacrifice some pieces and push my luck a little bit. No, it just doesn't work, does it? f4, queen g3. Also, you can start with h5, so this whole thought process was kind of flawed. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Of course, he does start with h5, and now I have to give way. Well, at least I've been playing slowly. This game is not gonna make my best games collection. If I can get the pieces out, I'm still sort of alright, I believe, but he has been playing more purposefully than me throughout this game. As long as g5 doesn't work, nothing too bad is happening. Now I even have a hint of counterplay with b4. Some knight forks in the air. I think I've misplayed it again already, but we are low on time. So it's special circumstances. Yeah, very good game by Ad Vitan, who's outplayed me for most of it. I'm still seriously worse here if he goes g5. And the flagging skills helped, but yeah, good game, and I'm gonna have to recheck that line. I'm not sure about this plan. If you can go d3 and then e5, bishop f4 so quickly. But what I did is h6 and then f6 was ridiculous. If I want to play with f6, I should probably do it immediately. If I want to play with h6, this is still a normal position if I go g6, bishop g7 and so on. But yeah, I'm going to have a look at that. Alright, what time is it? I think I got time for 2 more games, but as regular viewers will be familiar with by now, I'm going to need to have a very quick break to liberate myself, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back everybody, or welcome back me basically. Feeling much better, so let's play 2 more games. I guess I'm being asked if I'm gonna play in Berlin. No, I'm not. I'm gonna be commentating right here in the beautiful English language on chess24.com. It's gonna be a very exciting event with the world champion Magnus Carlsen, with former winners Vishy Anand, Levon Aronian, who else? Sergei Kayakin, former winner as well, and many more. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm gonna go to Berlin tomorrow. So yeah, I'm only in Hamburg for like a day and a half, coming more or less straight from Vienna, squeezing in a little Banter Blitz, and tomorrow it's gonna be off to Berlin, which is gonna be an exciting event. A lot of the chess world will be around, and I'm warming up so I can remember how tough it is to play Blitz instead of just pointing out all the Houdini moves the players didn't make. I should get in some games myself. Yeah, as I mentioned, I think I'm saying I'm tired pretty much every single show. No, I've been very active recently for my lazy standards, so I have a feeling I need I need a holiday at some point. But for now, I'm very much looking forward to the Berlin thingy, and after that we shall see. Chess never really stops though. There is the European Club Cup, then there's the European Team Championship, then there's London in December, so we have a lot of events, and Der Dux seems to be going for some high stakes theoretical discussion here. This used to be one of my pet lines. I used to be extremely well informed here. Not that much anymore. Knight d4 and knight g5 are 2 main moves. And after bishop e3, frankly, I think after e5, black is doing fine. But let's see what Der Dux comes up with. I'm sure I've played this line once. e5, knight f5, g6, knight h6, and bishop g7, followed by knight e6. Got a pretty good position. After e5, another move is knight f3, which is also supposed to be fine for black. For example, there's this famous thing. Bishop d6 I'm not familiar with. Guess I can... Hang on. Knight b5 doesn't work yet because of... well, some bishop h2 intermediate. It might still work, but I'm not confident enough to do it. But after f4 I'm threatening knight takes b5, and I'm threatening e5, so this looks promising. Yeah, I'm sure people have fallen for this trick before in this line, but you don't want to allow that, and I think that's why bishop d6 is not the right move. Now I'm pretty much winning. Sorry, Der Dux. The Maron used to be my main opening for years. What's going on? Can you guys still see me, hear me? I'm confused. I did return. Der Dux has resigned, but I'm not sure anybody can still watch the show. Can you? Don't want to miss that. I just won a game in 17 moves. So I hope you can. But yeah. I've been informed there's been some issues with live stream the last couple days. So if no one can see me anymore, I might have to do something. But now it looks like we're right. Yeah, I just disappeared for a minute and a half to do my thing, and I will play my last game against Mr. Feldsalat. Feldsalat. Sounds like a German name. Yeah. Not sure what the literal translation of Feldsalat is. Is it lettuce? I think it's just lettuce. Probably. Someone can look it up and educate us. 2400, so once again a strong player, and I'm gonna try to crush him. Combination of g3 and c3 is not very usual. Of course, white is fine. With white, you can get away with lots of stuff. In general, in these sorts of structures, you don't want your bishop on g2 because it's not doing very much after e6. We get sort of an exchange Slav with colors reversed, but this is not a dangerous version because g3, bishop g2 is not the right plan typically in these exchange Slav positions. So I do believe that I should be slightly better here with black already, but of course the game is just starting. Went h6 to avoid any knight h4 unpleasantness. And let's see what Feldsalat comes up with. Bishop f4, very normal. Yeah, in a minute I'm going to have to decide how to arrange things on the queen side. Rook c1, rook c8, it's pretty obvious. I guess he wants to go knight to a4. But you can see in these positions the bishop on g2 is just not really contributing. It's not controlling the c4 square. It's not putting pressure on the center. That's why this plan is not considered to be very dangerous. b4 is a bit of an invitation for action with a5. I have to think after b5 if I want to go bishop a3 or not. And as usual, the answer is I don't. I want to passively retreat. However, there's some method to the madness here. If I can get in knight d7, knight b6, and knight c4, this is actually reasonably typical theme in these lines. Now, if he can, he should go knight to a4. Well, I'm not sure what's going on, frankly. I have to think. Not my favorite activity at all. It's a distant third to sleeping and watching TV, I would say. 95. Could just take and go knight d7. Not sure if he wants to go de and then e4. But it looks like my position can absorb that, so I'm not that concerned about it. And yeah, now I want to go here and bring the other knight around to b6. Promise I'm sort of losing my grip on d4, on e4. So he might go e4 next move, but how bad can it be? Nah, can't be bad at all. Titan Prometheus is asking if he gets a discount on my d4 videos if he goes premium. If you go premium, you have access to everything. You don't need a discount. It's free for premium members, every single video, which is, yeah, ridiculous, as I said. So you don't need a discount if you go premium because it's free for premium members. I hope that being crushed by me is also free for Feldsalat. I'm not that sure. I like my position, but it's not obvious how to improve. Then again, I can go a4, queen d7, rook c8 or something if he does nothing. So yeah, I like my chances, and he probably should go e4 as he does. Take, so shall I go a4 first? No, let's take. Tempted to throw in a4, but actually if I take here and if rook takes, I probably can take on d4. So he takes with a bishop, but that's not the most aggressive move possible. So I'm a bit better, but of course nothing too bad has happened. And he managed to activate his bishop on this long diagonal and has ideas of his own with knight c5. So it's not too clear. Which is a pity. I like it when it's too clear. Giving me tempo. I could also go knight c4. And Blitz is always very comforting to put your pieces on squares where they are defended. Or at least I find that to be the case. Knight c3. Didn't see that one coming either. Guess I'll take. He does not have a lot to show for his missing pawn. hang on, I can take a rook. I like pawns so much, I wanted to take the pawn. But rooks are better than pawns, I learned in chess kindergarten. A rook is 5 points, pawn is only 1 point. So I took and Felsalad resigned. Yeah, this opening is a little too passive, I think. This g3, c3. Of course, white is alright, but it's nothing that you wanna play really, because this bishop on g2 doesn't have all that much to do. Anyway, that was it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can only refer you to the Millionaire Chess that is starting right now. Then if you really can't get enough of me, I will be commentating the FIDE World Rapid Championship starting on, I believe, Saturday at 2 p.m. So tomorrow I'm going to Berlin, the German capital and the big rival of Hamburg, where us people from Hamburg, we're not well liked in Berlin. So it's gonna be a tough trip for me, but I'm very much looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Get a premium membership if you haven't already. Bye bye.